Hello and welcome to MoreZone, everything Call of Duty Warzone and more. My name is Alan Bryce and I'll be bringing you through all the tips, tricks and plays we have in store this week. If you are new to the show, make sure to subscribe. Also follow our socials at the MoreZone on Twitter and Reddit r/MoreZone, where you can submit to our top 5 plays. But before we get that far, let's have a little look at what's coming up on this week's show. In MoreZone news, we check out the latest from the patch notes this weekend and who won the latest Warzone competitions. In the top 5 plays, we are going to have the most inventive ways to kill people in Warzone. It's a great week. In the Loadout highlight, we are joined by caster Momo from the CDL. And in the map highlight, we take a brief look at what happens when you go to TV station in Warzone. As you can see, we have a packed show for you this week. But let's get straight into it then and bring you all the latest news from Call of Duty in MoreZone News.
This week in the news, the Ghost Contingency Bundle arrived to the store this week, featuring 2 new weapon blueprints, including a legendary assault rifle and a new skin that will give Ghost a look the veterans will remember. The Call of Duty Endowment Fearless Pack is also now available for purchase. We have a new gunfight map in Aisle 9. We also have a new multiplayer map in Hard Hat. 2 new maps coming to Call of Duty this week. They've also modified special operations. You can replay existing operations with a twist. Some enemies may charge more frequently, or maybe they can only be taken down with headshots. And you can check that out and earn new rewards each week. We've also got new playlists in the game. Realism Mosh Pit with night vision goggles, Reinfected Ground War, Core Ground War, Blueprint Gunfight, an Aisle 9 Face-Off Mosh Pit, and Hard Hat 24/7. So both the new maps getting their own playlist. Big changes in Warzone this week as well. First, players will now be able to find SMGs and assault rifles in the Gulag. While you can still receive a shotgun or pistol, please be aware that different weapon classes are now being handed out. This means you can get things like the AK-47, M13, Kilo, Ram 7, and more. Though, be a little bit careful maybe if you rush your opponent because the game has changed. Not only that, but we are now going to see an armor box in Warzone. It's similar to a munitions box, but it can be used by the entire team to replenish their armor before or after an engagement. So you can find it in ground loot, supply boxes, or purchase it at a buy station. Very big change this one, because it means no longer do you have to keep buying 5 packs at the buy station. Last but not least, a new Battle Royale mode. Classic Battle Royale has come to Warzone. This mode strips down Battle Royale and features no buy stations, no contracts, and no gulag. If you're out, you're out. Survive the enemies and the ever-collapsing circle. The last team standing wins. This week in competitions, Warzone Wednesday happened last week on Wednesday again. Vicstar and its Wars won it again. That's Vicstar's 3 times back-to-back winning now for that competition. Can he go for a 4th week? We also had Combat Corona that went on just a few days ago, and that also had Vicstar as a winner alongside its Wars and Alan Walker. So big competitions for Warzone constantly going on, and it seems like at this point we're wondering who can stop Vicstar. But speaking of competitions, we also have some more coming up. Of course, Warzone Wednesdays will be on tomorrow again on Keepstar's Twitch channel at 1 PM. We also are going to have Live from Warzone, the Warstream series with special guests. This is going to feature pro teams, pro players, and celebrity guests. So tune in to see that on Thursday at 1:30 PT, and that will be on the COD League YouTube channel. That's all from the news this week. It has been a very packed week in terms of updates to the game, so I suggest you get out there and have a go.
Well, there certainly was a lot of news to cover this week, but if there is anything you think we're missing, make sure to hit us up on our socials, which you can see on screen now. Of course, if you also want to submit your top 5 plays, you will have a chance to be featured each and every single week, so make sure to get those in as well. Now, we do have our top 5s coming up next, and a few of these clips are very inventive ways to kill people in Warzone. I hope you enjoy. Here they are. we have Escori TTV, and sometimes you can win a gunfight, and sometimes you just don't need to. Great awareness of the space and the tools available to him will get the win here.
Position marked for close air.
This is Striker 3-1, good copy.
Never say
Strike
die.
inbound.
Got them all, baby. I lit. That was IQ, baby.
Your teammate was sent to the...
Coming in at number 4, we have Nabsters. While this may not be the most efficient method to hunt down an enemy car, I can say it is pretty spectacular.
into the area. Watch.
At number 3, going back to back in highlights on the show, we are going to have Raided from the London Royal Ravens. This time showing us that even though he drops with no weapons, he picks his loadout and uses it to devastating effect.
Are you just UAV now?
In at number 2, we have SCG Theros, who is in the rafters, and also by showing the right amount of patience, the enemy team never knew what hit him. Our number 1 clip this week comes from Callum DH03, who fresh from the Gulag still decides to take on a 4-man squad on top of tower. Well, there you go. Some incredible kills there as well. I particularly like the helicopter one myself. It's something I've never managed to do in Warzone, and that guy gets 4 kills. So what can you do? If you are interested in trying to get your clip in, just a reminder, it is going to be the MoreZone on Twitter and Reddit's r/MoreZone to put your clips in and have a chance of being featured. But let's move on now. We caught up with famous CWL caster Philip Whitfield, better known as Momo, as we go into the Loadout highlight. Hello, and thanks for joining me, Phil. Thanks for coming on the show.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's good to be back. I feel like we are further than ever physically and whatever we are in quarantine, but we're on the other side of the world. But I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to get through it, and yeah, it's good to be back. Good to see you, Bryce.
Awesome, thanks too. Good to see you too. All right, let's jump straight into this then. Your loadout for Warzone. It's already looking pretty familiar.
Listen, okay, there's certainly a meta, I understand, but I do like to change things up. I've even got them next to me right here. But yeah, I think without kind of making it all kind of crazy, my go-to is certainly, you know, your Grau, your MP5, all the similar attachments, but there are some differences. I do have like 10 different classes that I like to mess around with.
Yeah, I can see that now. I mean, let's focus on, cause let's be honest, right? The Grau we've seen before, you're running it pretty standard. You've got what, attack laser on there and the monolithic, which is slightly different, I think, from Zed last week. But the real change is here. You're not running overkill, you're running Ghost instead, and you've got an RPG.
Yeah, you pull out the RPG. I mean, again, I think it's you're catering your class towards yourself. Sometimes when you're running in, you know, squads or you're running solo, you know, you might get that loadout quicker. You know, when you've got 3 people around you, you might be able to get, you know, 2 loadout drops, which gets you that second one, which gets you that Ghost. But I play a lot of solos. I like to get Ghost off the rip. And RPGs, I feel, are one of those things you can utilize maybe if you're a less skilled player. You know, me and Zed, we're very, very different. But, you know, if there's a window, a doorway, if I can weaken, just take that armor down, I'm going to take that opportunity. RPGs, oh, as well, you know, vehicles. Come on, this is just the waste for easy kills, Bryce. You know me.
Yeah, oh no, I 100% agree. I think that's an interesting point about solos. You know, this probably is a lot more geared towards that. You know, able to use that RPG in those situations. Another change I did see is your tactical here. You're actually running a stun grenade.
Yeah, a lot of people use the heartbeat sensor. One of my friends calls it the baby monitor. It's not one of my go-tos. Again, I feel like I'm a ghost player, and I feel like I just play the game like everyone's got ghost. So if I've got a heartbeat sensor, I'm too out here looking at it. The stuns I can utilize. I've been playing COD for a very long time. I'm used to having a stun, so I have not got one. It's odd. It's kind of odd not having kind of a grenade in the sense that I do rock C4s. But I think everyone's rocking that at the moment. But yeah, concussions or stuns, it's one of those where you can stun 2-3 people at once if you're playing, your trios or your quads. I think it's very, very good.
That's fair enough. And the last one I kind of want to talk about, I can see you've got double time on, but that's pretty self-explanatory, right? Sprinting about the map and getting that speed. Amped. Why are you running amped?
Well, first thing, the double time. I go back into with double time and EOD mainly because my own RPGs will sometimes damage myself, and I'm like, why have I not got EOD on? I should have it on, but double time. I'm a fast, I'm aggressive player, and I like to get across the map. But amped, I feel, is one of the most underrated perks, and I think a lot of the your pros and your content creators will be running amped because you can just switch so fast, whether it's your AR to your submachine gun. Or you can get that rocket launcher, for me, out very, very quickly. You see a car coming at you, you don't want to be going slow. You don't want to be moving slow. You want that rocket launcher in hand. And you just want to be able to adapt as soon as possible. And I think if I'm not mistaken, I've got it with me right here. Faster weapon swap, for amped. But also the biggest thing for your RPGs is your rocket launcher reload speed. I'm putting another rocket in when I miss my first and second because, again, not as good as Zed. But, I can have a second and a third shot very, very quickly as well. So amped is a must if you're rocking those RPGs.
No, I understand that. I'll be honest with you. Whenever I have an RPG, I never bother reloading it. It's a one-shot use for me. It's gone. I'll find something else after that. But let's quickly move on to your favourite place to drop then. Where are you dropping currently?
Honestly, there's so many good spots. I think when I'm dropping it, again, this determines what I'm playing. If I'm dropping in quads, I'm going Superstore. And I know that's kind of the obvious answer, but it is also dependent on the flight path. I am very much a hot dropper. I'm very impatient as a person. So if I'm flying over in from the north, I'm probably dropping military base. If I'm dropping in from the west, I'm dropping Boneyard or Storage Town. I'm just going to the first POI, the point of interest, which is going to draw people in. And I'm hoping that other noobs are just jumping out of that plane and coming right there with me. But if I was to pick one place, I think I would have to go Superstore, but specifically the back door of Superstore.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I did a little piece on Superstore last week on the show. And last tip then, what was your big tip for players kind of coming into Warzone?
Coming into Warzone, don't expect to pick up wins easily. Again, whether it's your solos, trios, quads, whatever it may be. The beauty of Warzone, I found, as someone like yourself who's been playing COD for 10 plus years now, is we can run into a game, whether it's a multiplayer game, and just expect to win, and it's a shock if we lose. It's hard to win, and that's the rewarding thing about this. But I would say the tips are kind of play to your strengths. Much like I was talking about with my RPG and maybe not being the best player in the world, play to what you're good at. Play to whether you're strong up close with a submachine gun or you're rocking that kind of slower pace sniper rifle. Use whatever makes you feel comfortable and find the right teammates. If you're not in the right team, it could be an unfortunate position you find yourself in. And find your right teammates, play to your strengths, and don't expect to win every single game. Otherwise, you're in for a tough time.
Awesome. All right. Well, lots of advice there. Thank you so much, Phil, for joining us. I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate it. It's always good to catch up. If we were closer, it would be easier to play on Warzone. I've played on some of the European servers with my brother, with some of my friends as well. It's not easy, and I get very frustrated when you're playing on a high ping in that gulag. It's a dangerous place to be, but Bryce, we'll have to get some games in, and we'll have to get some wins.
Oh, that we will. Thank you very much, Phil.
Thank you.
It's always great catching up with Phil, a very good long-time friend of mine. And if you are interested in seeing more of Phil, then you can, of course, catch him on CDL Seattle this coming weekend on YouTube. So make sure to tune into that for high-level gameplay and commentary. But moving on from one gameplay to another, have you ever wondered where to drop into Warzone or maybe where you should go? Well, we take a little look at another location in the map highlight. Welcome to the map highlight for Warzone. We are now going to be jumping in on TV station. Now, if you are a fan of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, you will recognise this location being the map broadcast from multiplayer. So if you are familiar, then you're already a step ahead. But as we jump into here, it is going to be the most central location, so if you are looking for a high kill game, this may be the place you want to go. I do advise going here as a squad, otherwise you won't last very long like I don't on this run as I go in alone. Few places to drop. Straight on top is the obvious one. There are a few loot spots on here, not a ton, and occasionally a helicopter. You can drop straight down to the side of the building and go in and look for the loot there. There's plenty of loot inside, so that's always going to be one of the places you go anyway, just to make sure you're completely kitted out for the rest of the game. Or you could drop on the buildings nearby. Always a couple of crates in them, so you can get kitted out early if you choose to go there with your team first before going in. I will recommend, when you are in TV station, that you get an SMG or something close range, as it does get very tight and twisty once you start going through. There are a lot of doors inside, just to kind of counteract the amount of loot you can get. It can be a point-blank gunfight when you go in. Not only that, but once you've done with this location, there are a few places to rotate onto this map. I advise going to airport. I don't advise going to stadium. You're going to find campers there, and the loot isn't going to be fantastic. Obviously, you may have to go that location, just simply because of the fact that, you know, there's not an awful lot of places to go if the circle is there, but it does go stadium into downtown. Two places likely to get you killed and not the easiest places to pick up kills from. But TV station is still somewhere I recommend to go. If you want to be aggressive, if you want to get a lot of kills, well, then have some fun. That has been TV station. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know where you want to go next time. This has been the MoreZone map highlight. I hope you all enjoyed that and maybe learned a little bit about where and why to go somewhere in Call of Duty Warzone. If you've got any suggestions, make sure to throw them into our socials. There are lots of places left to explore in Call of Duty Warzone. And of course, that does bring us to the end of our show this week. Please leave a comment and subscribe if you haven't on the YouTube, and follow all of our rest of our social media. Now, we have got a little bonus for you this week. After I say goodbye, we will be playing the top 5 clips that didn't quite make it. So thank you all, and we'll see you next time.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go.
What? I shot the pole.
Dude,
Adam
you're
Bay.
nasty. Holy f. That was disgusting, dude. Yeah, good shit. Alright, I'm gonna keep buying UAVs up here.
I'm so fucking good.